I like it here a lot. Yeah, I like it.
You have been...
By the way, I'm an American. I can go wherever I want and speak to anyone I want to because I'm a free man. That's the promise of my country. And some are seeking to change that and to put our population into mental bondage, and I'm not participating in that.
And when you've questioned AIPAC and you've questioned things, are you facing a consequence and a backlash now day to day?
I have a right to say what I think. I'm an American citizen, period.
Tucker Carlson was in the beautiful country of Qatar over this past week, and he was speaking at the Doha International Forum, whatever they call it, some new forum that they're hosting in Doha. You had Donald Trump Jr. there, Hillary Clinton, Tucker Carlson, a bunch of other random people. It was a very eclectic group of people that they had at this event. I will say I went to Doha, Qatar not too long ago, maybe about a year ago, less than a year ago now. And while I was there, I interviewed Hamas, and it was a very interesting conversation because some of the people that I interviewed were targeted in the Israeli airstrike on Hamas in Doha, Qatar. I'll say this, it's a beautiful place. Qatar is a beautiful place. It's so clean. There's like no trash anywhere. Another shining example of like what major cities can look like if you actually know how to govern, you know, how to deal with people who are criminals. But when you go to the areas where they have like the ambassadors live and the embassies are, it's very humble, we'll say. It's not these ritzy embassies, and it just looks like a random home. Like a random home on the side of the street that you would see in any suburban city in America. So it's very shocking to me that this is where, and you know, there are people that live around there. So it's shocking to me that Israel did this. And Tucker Carlson actually discussed this while he was there. He discussed this matter of Hamas in being hosted by Doha, Qatar, with the Qatari Prime Minister. Take a listen to what he has to say here.
And I'd like to just get right to the truth of that. So my understanding is Hamas is here in Doha because the United States and Israel asked you to host Hamas. Is that true? And if not, what is the truth about Hamas in Doha?
Well, thank you, Tucker. First of all, look, the starting of the relationship with Hamas and the communication was started back more than 10 years, 13 years ago, at the request of the United States. Even beyond that, like it was 19 years ago when they first participated in the election, and then when they moved their office back in 2012 here, it was used only for the communication and to facilitate like ceasefire, facilitating aids to Gaza. Now, unfortunately, Qatar has been attacked for having them here, but when you look, you know, at what's happening within the region, this region, when you look at its conflict, it has the parties of the conflict, sometimes they are state actors, sometimes they are non-state actors. If you have no one speaking to those non-state actors, how we are going to resolve or to reach to a solution at the end of the day? And now we have seen that this communication has led to ceasefires, has led to the release of the hostages, has led to elevating the suffering of the people over there. And unfortunately, you know, there are like politicians who are trying to use this to score like short-term political gains to fuel their narratives in order to, like, you know, using Qatar to blame another country for what's happening over there or for their wrong policies.
You know what's incredible about this? Like, Qatar was one of the mediator states for the United States and Israel with the Palestinian resistance groups. So, if it wasn't Qatar, if Qatar wasn't there, if they weren't hosting Hamas or the Palestinian resistance, how would the United States, how would Israel be able to communicate with Hamas if not through direct communications? And by the way, that did happen. That did happen in some rounds of the negotiations after Trump took power. There were direct negotiations, or I should say talks, with Hamas. And this, I think, was probably something that Hamas actually was sympathetic towards. I mean, of course, you'd rather speak directly to the people that you're dealing with rather than have a mediator try to, convey messages, translating languages, so on and so forth. Things get lost in the middle. Things are not properly communicated from party to party. And this was something that Osama Hamdan explained to me when I went and interviewed him in Doha, Qatar. He's one of the senior Politburo members of Hamas. He said, look, this is a very difficult situation for us. At the time, it was a difficult situation for them because the mediators, of which there were several, Egypt, Turkey, Qatar, other countries were involved as well. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know who explicitly he was talking about, which country, let alone which person, which representative. I don't know who the representatives are from these countries who are involved in these talks and negotiations, serving as intermediaries. But he said at the time, he told me, he said, look, it's very difficult because probably some of the information is not being given to the West. Some of the information is not being given to the United States that we hope to give them. This is a result of the mediators. And some of the information that they are asking of us is being maligned or not properly represented to us when we hear what they want. So there was a breakdown in communications, probably on purpose. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know who it was, but this is a very real thing. So that's why it's so important that you have a truly neutral third party who's going to look out for all of the belligerents and try to come to a fair peace deal that respects everyone's wishes. So if the U.S. doesn't want to talk directly with Hamas, which they made that very clear, they fired the guy who did that. I think it was like Jared Kushner's friend. They fired him after it was found out that it was made public that he had these talks directly with Hamas. Then why would you be pissed off? Why would you malign the character of leaders of a country who are doing this work for you? It doesn't make sense.
All our aid and all our support and financing that went and what they claimed that it went to Hamas, went to Gaza, went to the people, and it was under very transparent process that the United States is fully aware about. Israel is the one who's facilitating, and it's not one government, it was across governments. Netanyahu, Bennett, we have dealt with all the agencies. Lapid was a prime minister at a certain point of time, Mossad, Shimbet, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the defense, all of them, they were involved in these aids and the delivery of those aids. So today, when they are claiming that this is the financing of Qatar to Hamas, it has no basis. It's just a way to spread disinformation about a country that doesn't do anything for them, but it's doing things that are against their policies. If you just go to Qatar records with in its engagement with the United States for the last 20 years or 30 years, Qatar has never went to the United States and encouraging them to bomb this country or to support this group or to that group. We've been always in our dialogues with the United States about how we de-escalate the region, how we bring peace to the region, and this peace cannot happen without an engagement with everyone in the region.
And for that, Qatar was bombed by Israel. They tried to unalive all the leaders of the Palestinian resistance. And by the way, I want to bring this point to your attention. For simply going to Qatar, for simply having these conversations and hearing what the mediators in the Qatari royal family, the prime minister, hearing what they have to say about all of this, Tucker Carlson was attacked vociferously by Laura Loomer. I just want to show you this. So I was going to try to choose a single tweet to highlight from Laura Loomer as to her insanity towards Tucker over his trip to Qatar. But I really couldn't choose one because there is so much here. So I'm going to show you all of the tweets that we have just from December 7th, which was the day Tucker was in Doha, Qatar, that she tweeted out mentioning Tucker's name. So there was more tweets, right? But these are the ones where she explicitly mentioned Tucker's name. She is losing her mind. She's also legally not allowed to own firearms because she actually does have some mental issue, some well-documented mental issues. So she's not actually allowed to own firearms. But this is how insane she's going. And I love this. This video of Tucker Carlson was promised to Laura Loomer 3,000 years ago. That's why she's just downloading videos that she gets off the internet, posting them, reposting them with no edits, and putting her watermark, her Twitter username watermark, on top of the video. This video of Tucker Carlson was promised to her 3,000 years ago. So look at, okay, these are all from October 7th, folks. She's nuts. Tucker Carlson is the ringleader of the evil. Ringleader of the evil what? I don't know. Tucker Carlson is buying property in Qatar. Heaven forbid. Oh my goodness. So you mean he's not actually paid by Qatar, but he is in fact paying Qatar? So by your twisted, stupid logic, Tucker Carlson actually is in control of Qatar? Because that's her whole thing here. She says Qatar pays Tucker, which I've seen zero proof of that. Qatar pays Tucker, therefore he's controlled by Qatar. But actually, the only proof we have of any financial transaction between these two parties is that Tucker's buying a home in Qatar, paying taxes on it, presumably. So I guess Tucker actually controls Qatar now. The Prime Minister of Qatar just told Tucker Carlson, just ask, why is this in quotes? She's nuts. She can't even write a basic sentence. Why is this whole thing in quotes? That's your own comment. Why are you putting it in quotes? She doesn't even know how to write a sentence. The Prime Minister of Qatar just told Tucker Carlson, just ask me to do for you whatever you want me to, and I will do it. Tucker says Qatar has never given him anything. That is a lie. But the Prime Minister is joking here, but he's saying because you're buying a house in Qatar, then I'll do whatever you want. He's literally making fun of Laura Loomer, but she's so stupid she doesn't even understand it. Okay, more tweets about Tucker. All December 7th, all one day. No one should be this obsessed with any one person. No one. Tucker Carlson. It's just not hitting. It's just not hitting. Carlson, not hitting. Muslim Brotherhood country is a Muslim country. Tucker Carlson, as I've been saying now, it's a Nazi it's a Qatari bribery problem. GOP, it's a Qatari problem. She's just repeating. Now she's if anyone's controlled by Qatar, isn't it this guy right here who got like a brand new Air Force One jet from Qatar? Isn't this the guy that she routinely sucks up to on a daily basis? Isn't Trump the one who should be labeled as the Qatari agent for her twisted logic? Okay, now she's posting about Tucker's nicotine pouches. What else do we have here? Do we know that BlackRock is BlackRock is okay? Now we're talking about her own friends, BlackRock. This was the best one. She said that she insinuated that Tucker Carlson, this is all still on December 7th, by the way. She insinuated that Tucker Carlson is an alcoholic or something because he said he used to have a drinking problem. I don't know how stupid she is, but just because you're holding a drink that looks like this does not necessarily imply that it is alcohol. I hate to be the bearer of bad news here to Laura Loomer, but she's gone so insane that she saw this picture and then started dredging up old videos of Tucker saying that he had an alcohol problem or something like that. Now she's saying, she's writing a multi-page essay saying, is that a cocktail in your hand in Qatar? I thought you were an alcoholic by your own admission. Is this why you're so crazy these days and why you sold out to Muslims? Have you rebounded on your alcohol addiction? Did you relapse? Is this why you were throwing your career away with unhinged behavior? You're really a degenerate addict, aren't you? I don't know if any of your new Muslim friends have told you, but going to rehab is a lot easier and respectable than selling out to the funders of global Islamic jihad. You smoked a cig in front of your pregnant wife? I always knew you were effed up, but God, how effed up are you? Go to rehab. And then, since you're such a Christian, beg for forgiveness. Degenerate addict. Yuck. Oh. Okay, Laura Loomer. I've never seen someone get so triggered over a single post. But the problem is, The problem for Laura Loomer is she's missing the point here. This photo is not supposed to generate some unhinged rant about alcoholism or alcoholic drinks. This photo is simply a message to you, Laura Loomer, and all of the other idiots online who are insinuating that because we oppose the idea of mass slaughtering of Palestinian babies, Palestinian innocent civilians, that somehow makes us owned or controlled by Qatar. The fact that we are opposed to the fact that our president and previous president and the administration before that, Trump won, and probably every preceding presidential administration in modern history has been spied on, intimidated by, or blackmailed by the state of Israel does not make us funded by Qatar. I always find it funny when people say that about me because, you know, it's just like the age-old Zionist adage, oh, if you're opposed to Israel, you must be funded by Qatar. I'll be honest with you. When I was going to Qatar to interview Hamas, I was actually worried. I'm not going to lie. Not the most worried I've ever been traveling to a country, but I was worried because Qatar was involved heavily in the financing of the extremists that took out Bashar al-Assad. They were immensely involved in that. The gun running, the funding of these groups, they were intrinsically involved, the media propaganda, all of it. So when I went to Qatar, I'm not even going to lie, I was worried for my safety. I was worried that, well, you know, maybe this country and their border security personnel would not take too kindly to the fact that I had critiqued and condemned their role in Syria so much for so many years. Not so many years, but like, I don't know, like 5 years or 6 years or whatever, maybe more. And I was visiting their country. So I was actually worried going to Qatar. But they say, oh, you're funded by Qatar. Tucker's funded by Qatar. No, Tucker is actually funding Qatar himself. He's not funded by Qatar. He's funding Qatar because he's buying a home there. Tucker rounded out his trip by saying this. Couldn't agree more.
Well, I like it here a lot. Yeah, I like it.
You have been...
By the way, I'm an American. I can go wherever I want and speak to anyone I want to because I'm a free man. That's the promise of my country. And some are seeking to change that and to put our population into mental bondage, and I'm not participating in that.
And when you've questioned AIPAC and you've questioned things, are you facing a consequence and a backlash now day to day?
I have a right to say what I think. I'm an American citizen, period.
I will not be intimidated by AIPAC. I agree fully. I agree fully. The Laura Loomers of the world will not win. Before you leave, I want to say thank you for the support because after 2 years of being banned, we are finally back home on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to our channel and also join as a member on our channel using the link at the top of the description. I rely on the generous support of viewers like yourself to get the truth out to as many people as possible. You can also support the show on Locals or Give Sin Go. The mainstream media and the powers that be are never going to stop attacking us for bringing the truth to as many people as we do. Thank you so much for your support.